Hello and welcome to CATSweek. I'm Annalise Poorman. On January 11th at the Monroe County Commissioners meeting, Health Department Director Lori Kelly gave an update on COVID-19 variants in the county.
Hello, good morning. Currently, Monroe County is in the medium COVID-19 community level, although hospital admissions have started lowering this week. As a reminder, there are many ways in which we can protect ourselves. This includes staying up to date with vaccinations, monitoring for symptoms and frequent testing, wearing a mask, and performing frequent hand hygiene. We are seeing increases of the XBB 1.5 variant. Symptoms have not changed with this variant and seem to be similar to the flu, although it is thought to be more transmissible. Vaccinations are still available at the public health clinic. The phone number is 812-353-3244 for appointments.
Next, County Attorney Jeff Cockrell asked the commissioners to approve an agreement with EU Banks and Associates for an ongoing Houston South litigation.
Yes, this is a continuation of a litigation we have about the Lake Monroe watershed and keeping the water quality in good shape. I think the executive session that we talked about at the beginning of this, where we did the memo, is we discussed this with the county council. This is a little bit different than our original agreement in that we paid more of the share of the cost for this. This one we only pay a third of these fees, and so in order to keep moving forward with this, it was recommended that we approve this agreement.
Commissioner Julie Thomas shared her support for the agreement and asked whether or not the county council had already voted on it. Cockrell said he was not sure and would get back to her.
Yeah, first, just a comment that I'm glad that we're standing up for all of the residents and businesses of Monroe County, and the availability of clean water is vital for all of us. And so I'm proud to be part of this effort to protect our lake and our drinking water supply.
Newly elected board president Penny Githens spoke about recent updates on the Houston South project and outlined the reasons why the litigation is necessary.
I would like to say that I was dismayed to see in the paper last week that the Forest Service is planning to go ahead with the work they had planned in the Houston South region of the Hoosier National Forest. And, you know, in talking with people that are much more knowledgeable than I am about things like this, if Forest Service would just leave it alone, it will return to its natural state of being a hardwood forest. We don't need to be doing clear cutting and application of herbicides and burning and the kind of disruption to the soil that happens with heavy logging. And so I'm pleased that we are making this effort to ensure the ongoing quality of our drinking water. It impacts over 120,000 people in Monroe County. And so I'm pleased that we're continuing to work with Eubanks.
The commissioners approved the agreement unanimously. At the Monroe County Council meeting on January 10th, Monroe County Sheriff Ruben Marte gave a department update and introduced the new jail commander, Kyle Molden. Molden shared the changes they have been making in the jail.
Primarily, our interests are providing programs, cleaning it up, making it a place where we can reduce recidivism through programs like that. So, like, when they come in, there was a process before that was standard. Coming through the Sally Port, you come into the booking area, and we walked in day one and we're like, this is not gonna work. It's not gonna work because it's not appealing to human nature. We're really not giving these people the transition from outside to inside we thought was flawed. So that puts back all our programs. It causes them to have issue with bringing these people in, allowing these people to open up and disclose certain information so that they can begin programs and putting these people in the programs that need to be in to be successful. So I heard something yesterday in the meeting, and they said specifically, jails don't disappear social problems, they disappear people. And that actually struck a chord with me, and I know it did with Sheriff Marte. And that really caused me, I reached out to Care Not Cages, Sydney Foreman, I want to bring her in. I'm going to try to work with her and how to really facilitate that process and really help us reach our goals that Sheriff Marte has set for us.
Molden informed the commissioners on the number of individuals in the jail and explained how they plan to address the issue of overcrowding.
Real quick, we have 294 beds in our facility. Currently, we have 182 people, 161 felonies. The next number is kind of astonishing, and I think that's a credit to our judicial system here with the pretrial release program. We have 16 misdemeanors, which I've been at various facilities. That is some of the lowest I've ever seen. So it sounds like, and the numbers speak, again, we're new, we're still trying to figure it out, but it's clear that people are coming in, and the people that need to be there, that are rest of the community and really need access to these programs, are being held here throughout their court case. The people that can come out pre-trial and do things on their own and get prepared for the court case are filtering out pretty quickly, which less people in the jail means more opportunity for the people in the jail to be successful with issues with overcrowding in most facilities. So it's worked out pretty well. We've got 3 parole holds, 1 out of county hold. So as of this moment, and the thing that we really wanted to touch on today was our general population. So currently, we have a tier system. There's minimum, medium, maximum classifications. There's people that require close observation and things of that nature. As of this moment, we have people that are in tiers, essentially. So you guys know there's 2 levels to the jail. There's a lower tier and a higher tier. Each day, the lower tier gets 4 hours out. The upper tier gets 4 hours out. So bi-weekly, that switches where the upper tier will have an opportunity to come out in the morning, make phone calls, and communicate better with everybody on the outside based on timing. But the issue with that is they spend about 18 hours a day on lockdown, even the people that aren't on close observation, maximum security. So just your run-of-the-mill person that comes in that has a disorderly conduct, makes a mistake, they're locked down 18 hours a day. That's not going to continue to happen, not with us. So what we're trying to do, and we're going to have to do it at levels. We can't just let everybody out at once. We're going to increase time out. It does 2 things. It humanizes them, and it reminds them that they have obligations on the outside of the facility, and it doesn't force them to live in their confined cell for 18 hours a day. That allows us to clean those cells and have more, get in there and make sure things are handled correctly. But the second thing it does, it gives them something to work for and to be prideful of. They're going to protect that time out, so they're going to respond better to rules, and they're going to be more involved in programs. They're not going to be shut down. So, and that's real important to us. So there are some things we can't change with maximum security. That's for the protection of not only those people, but other people that are in there. So we're going through that. Now, with that being said, altered mental status, this is the first facility I've ever seen that has 80 hours of mental health services available on the property. So they're there all day long. I've never seen that. So that's a credit to the community as well as other programs.
Councilmember Jennifer Crossley responded to the report, saying it gave her hope that they're working with programs in the community like New Leaf, New Life.
In contrast to our meeting yesterday, this is something that gives a breath of fresh air. And it is hopeful, and this gives me a lot of hope because I had many thoughts, but this gives me a lot of hope, and I'm happy to hear that, and I'm really happy to hear that groups and services are reaching out and you are willing to work with them. And I would be really interested to see how groups like New Leaf, New Life, because I know that was something that they wanted to be a part of as well, to be in here. So this gives, I appreciate that. That this breakdown, and it gives me great hope for the future. So thank you. Yeah.
Councilmember Cheryl Munson also expressed her support for their collaboration with New Leaf, New Life. Marte responded, saying the partnership had been in place for a while.
I met, but if it's still the same president, I met with her and we had a lengthy conversation. So we knew when we took this on that they were going to be a partner with us. So that was set up way back in the beginning. So, yes.
Councilmember Pete Iverson thanked the Sheriff's Department for reaching out to Care Not Cages and asked if the program Helping Men Recover is ongoing. Molden shared that it would be restarting soon. And we'll have more Cats Week after this message.
Do you know that thousands of children go without school supplies every day? Teachers Warehouse is a 100% volunteer-powered organization. We service the educational and creative needs of students in Monroe, Brown, Greene, Lawrence, and Owen counties by distributing school supplies free to the teachers. Teachers Warehouse is composed of 7 rooms filled with books, pencils, paper, and even tools to motivate students. If it's in a classroom, we'll supply it. To donate new or gently used school supplies or volunteer, give us a call at 812-929-7522 or email us at contact@teacherswarehouse.net.
Welcome back to Cats Week. On January 11th at the Bloomington City Council, they heard a report from Director of Housing and Neighborhood Development, John Zodi, on the upcoming American Rescue Plan Act funds from the U.S. Housing and Urban Development Program.
Just a reminder, the city is going to receive about $2 million in rescue plan funds through the Home Investment Partnership Program, which is one of the affordable housing programs that is allocated to the city of Bloomington and the HAND department. The funds have to be targeted for use to serve 4 qualifying populations as defined by our regulations in the federal government. And all of these populations are in the realm of homelessness. Number one, a person that would be considered homeless by a traditional definition. The actual definitions of all of these are quite lengthy in regulation, but what you might consider traditionally someone who would be homeless. At risk of homelessness really refers to someone from a financial perspective, primarily who has a risk of housing insecurity. Number 3, fleeing or attempting to flee domestic or dating violence, sexual assault, stalking, or human trafficking. And number 4, other populations requiring service or housing assistance to prevent homelessness. So someone that may have a substance abuse disorder, someone that may have other risk factors. Veterans would be in this group, for instance. Or a person with a disability, perhaps. So the funds have to be used to serve those 4 qualifying populations. We have a number of uses for the funds. Supportive services, which is a huge range of activity that we've been getting input on. Nonprofit operation and capacity building. Rental housing development, acquisition and development of non-congregate shelter. So that shelter, which is where clients may be sleeping in separate rooms or using separate bathrooms, as opposed to congregate shelter where you may find folks being in the same room or the same restroom. This does have a COVID tie because of the rescue plan, so that's where the congregate versus non-congregate shelter concept comes in. Tenant-based rental assistance, which is an existing program that we have, that we work with the Bloomington Housing Authority on, which provides some rental assistance to certain income qualifying clients. And then with those uses, we've been reaching out to folks. There's a prescribed list of required outreach, but we've been doing a little more than that. We've done about 24 meetings so far. We'll be doing more this month to get input and solicit feedback from those stakeholders in the community that we all know and some we don't know.
Next, the council discussed a resolution regarding the Monroe County Convention Center. Monroe County Commissioner Julie Thomas spoke to the council. She explained that although the agreement will not be legally binding, it is a litmus test for the commissioners to know where the council stands on the issue of financially managing a new convention center.
Again, we are opposed to the 501c3 measure that the mayor has put forward. It removes all county input in the process. Please remember, one, first, that the county council provided the food and beverage tax to fund this project based on the administration's promise of city-county cooperation. And remember, please, number two, the convention center has been managed through Monroe County government for decades, very successfully. I ask respectfully, please consider your vote the message you want to send to the state legislature as they begin to debate Senate Bill 37 regarding food and beverage taxes. What do you want county government to learn about your interests? And lastly, what message do you want to send to the community?
Council member Steve Volan asked Thomas whether or not the commissioners still support the food and beverage tax. Thomas said that she supports the tax, and Commissioner Lee Jones, who attended over Zoom, agreed that they will still need the food and beverage tax for the convention center if the plans continue to move forward.
Oh, that's a really good question. I believe I can only speak for myself. And I will say that if we are going to move forward with the CIB in cooperation with city government, that we need the food and beverage tax, so I would support it. And I'm not sure if that directly answers your question or not.
Commissioner Susan Sandberg asked Thomas if the food and beverage tax being eliminated by the General Assembly in the future legislation is a concern of theirs. Thomas responded,
Well, I certainly can't speak for the General Assembly, but I can say that without the support of the administration and as we discussed today in our administrative meeting, even with the support of the city administration, we will have to do something to demonstrate to the General Assembly that we're serious about using the food and beverage tax. And if you think about it, one of the very first things that would have to happen is an agreement on the CIB structure. Everything we do, you will need to have a veto-proof vote at this point. And I'm sure you all appreciate the gravity of that. So the CIB structure, a bond, how are we going to get a bond passed quickly? That is going to fall into the city's purview. And so there's a lot of work that will have to be done. It would be nice to know what they intend to do and where most folks are in terms of that, but I don't know that. Sorry to say.
Councilmember Ron Smith asked the new deputy mayor, Mary Catherine Carmichael, why the city wants to have control over the convention center. Carmichael responded, saying that the city does not want control of the project. However, they do want to get it done in a timely manner, and they think it will be faster if they don't have to come to joint agreements.
Our main interest is getting it built quickly, getting it built well, getting it built to a high standard, and taking advantage of the expertise we have in big projects to get it done. So we aren't trying to control the process long-term. Our interest is just getting that asset established for this community in a timely fashion. And we fear that the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior, and we've had some problems working together. So we feel like if we have to rely on every single decision to be made jointly, that's going to slow things down and be really problematic. Again, we don't hope to control it long-term. We're happy to say, hey, yeah, you manage it. This is just an asset that our community needs, and we want to see that happen.
The council voted to override the mayor's previous veto on the Monroe County Commissioners' ordinance establishing a capital improvement board. The resolution passed with a vote of 8-1, with Councilmember Kate Rosenbarger dissenting. And we'll have more CATSweek after this message.
I'm at risk of thinking there's just no point in trying. I'm at risk of looking in the mirror and hating what I see. I'm at risk of being told not to tell. But with Girls Inc. in my corner, I will not be another statistic. I will fight for myself. With you in my corner, I will win.
Fuel her fire and she will change the world. Girls Inc.
Welcome back to CATSweek. During the January 9th meeting of the Community Justice Response Committee, Monroe County Commissioner Lee Jones said that the county is no longer looking at Fullerton Pike as the new location for a new jail. This comes after the City Council denied a proposal to rezone the property. Jones said the committee would look at options further into the county rather than the Fullerton Pike location.
At this point, we are moving our search out into the county, and there's really not a whole lot to be said to that until we've actually found a place and are ready to discuss it.
Deputy Prosecutor April Wilson asked about a property owned by the county located near Catalent. Jones responded that the county commissioners have other plans for that property.
In the modern world now, jails are mostly discovering that they really cannot locate downtown. They may have originally located in a situation like that, but there are multiple reasons why that's no longer possible. And there are also multiple solutions for the problems that come up with it not being located downtown. And we have been spending some time looking into those solutions and thinking about just how this problem would be handled. Of course, this was a problem that was brought up with the Fullerton Pike location, and that problem doesn't change just because we didn't get the Fullerton Pike location. So, but no, Thompson is not being considered.
One committee member asked if the county would be receptive to working with the city to find a new location. Jones pushed back, saying the county commissioners believe it would be a faster process to look within the county. Monroe County Council member Jennifer Crossley said the committee should be more community-focused and be open to working with the city. She called for greater transparency in the committee.
I think that this committee could be used in a way in which we can really truly sit down and have the discussion. We're already doing it. We've been doing it for a while. Let us continue to have input and continue to have community involvement that does involve the city. We already know BPD uses or books folks in the jail more than ever. So why not have folks that are already doing the job, the experts that are already here to be a part of this? I understand there's a no, but I still continue to push back and will continue to say yes. I think we need to do that.
County Commissioner Julie Thomas said that each government entity has their own lanes and emphasized that each should act according to their assigned responsibilities.
I think everybody's making some good points. I just want to reiterate that we all have lanes, right? We all have our responsibilities here. Council, commissioners, the criminal justice side, we all have our lanes, and we all have aspects of this that need to be addressed in terms of reform. And I don't think the criminal justice side would want us, for example, on the Board of Commissioners, to tell them how to manage their courtrooms. They have their rules, they have their precedent, they have that's up to them. And so I think we all have our lanes. I think we should all be providing input on everybody's parts in the process, but I don't think we could ever expect anyone to hand over their responsibility to the community, which is a very broad term. Community input is great, but who actually makes the decision?
County Councilor Kate Wiltz expressed frustration that the County Council's voice is not actively being heard in the committee.
It's about a lack of transparent conversation around the activities and the path that we're trying to take. There is a huge decision to be made, and we get that it is your decision. It's dependent on good information and good input, as well as a collaborative process of discussing that input and a mutual understanding of your responsibilities. And I just I can't speak for all of county council, but Jen's point is well taken. County council needs to be on board with your decision. And it's frustrating to not feel as though our lane is appreciated.
During public comment, City Council member Isabel Piedmont Smith said she was concerned that the city has not been involved in this process.
We in city government, I think I can speak for the majority, if not everybody, we're very concerned about community justice reform. And we would like to help in any way we can with this county run process. I was quite concerned about the analogy by Commissioner Thomas about us all being in separate lanes. How can we ever come together and work collaboratively if we all stay in our separate lanes? I do not understand that. And it seems like it's only the commissioners who have the roadmap for these lanes. Could you please share with the public what the roadmap is, when you envision getting input from whom?
The city's public engagement director, Kaisa Goodman, offered public comment with a similar sentiment, asking for the city to have greater involvement in this process.
While the justice system and public health are the direct responsibility of the county, the city is also logistically and practically involved. For example, Bloomington Police Department officers are the top user group of the jail. The city has considerable experience with large-scale capital projects, and the majority of county residents are also residents of the city. It's also critical that we receive input and expert testimony on the feasibility and beneficiality of the many options discussed from experts on public health, mental health, social services, architecture and engineering, and more. Fundamentally, our justice system is a reflection of our collective values and priorities, and justice reform will be more effective with greater collaboration and communication.
The next Community Justice Response Committee meeting will be held on Monday, January 23rd. And that is all for CATSweek. Thank you for joining us. For CATS and WFHB, I'm Annalise Poorman.